There was a whole bunch of them. Johnny went on, swallowing, ignoring Stoda's command. A blue Mustang, full. I got scared. He tried to swear, but suddenly started crying, fighting to control himself, then sobbing all the more because he couldn't. I had seen Johnny take a whipping by with a 2x4 from his old man and never let out a whimper. That made it worse to see him break down. Soda just held him and pushed Johnny's hair back out of his eyes. It's okay, Johnny Cake. They're gone now. It's okay. Finally, between sobs, Johnny managed to gasp out his story. He had been hunting our football to practice a few kicks when a blue Mustang had pulled up beside the lot. There were 4 Socs in it. They caught him, and one of them had a lot of rings on his hand, and that's what cut up his face so badly. It wasn't just as they'd beaten him half to death. He couldn't take that. They had scared him. They had threatened him with everything under the sun. Johnny was high-strung anyway, nervous wreck from getting belted every time he turned around from hearing his parents fight all the time. Living in those conditions might have turned someone either rebellious or bitter. It was killing Johnny. He had never been a coward. He is a good man in a rumble. He stuck up for the gang and kept his mouth shut good around the cops. But after the night of the beating, Johnny was jumpier than ever. I didn't think he'd ever get over it. Johnny never walked by himself after that, and Johnny, who was the most law-abiding of us, now carried his back pocket a 6-inch switchblade. He'd use it too if he ever got jumped again. They had scared him too much that he would kill the next person who jumped him. Nobody was ever going to beat him like that again. Not over his dead body. I had nearly forgotten Sherry was listening, but when I came back to reality, I looked at her. I was starting to find her as white as a sheet. All Socs aren't like that, said. You have to believe me, Pony Boy. Not all of us are like that. Sure, I said. That's like saying that all you greasers are like Dallas Winston. I'll bet he's jumped a few people. I digested that. It was true. Dallas had jumped people. He had told us stories about muggings in New York, and he made the hair back of your neck stand up. But not all of us are that bad. Sherry no longer looked sick, only sad. I'll bet you think Socs have it made. The rich kid on the West Side Socs. I'll tell you something, Pony Boy. We have, and it may come to the surprise. We all have troubles you've never heard of, and you want to know something? She looked at me straight in the eye. Things are rough all over. I believe you, I said. We better get back out with a popcorn, or Two-Bit'll think I ran off with his money. We went back and watched the movie through again. Marcia and Two-Bit were hitting it off fine. They both had the same scatterbrained sense of humor, but Sherry and Johnny and I just sat there looking at the movie and not talking. We quit worrying about everything and thought about it, how nice it would be to sit with a girl without having to listen to her swear or to beat her off with a club. I knew Johnny liked it too. He didn't talk to girls much. Once, when Dallas was in reform school, Sylvia had started hanging on to Johnny and sweet-talking him, and Steve got a hold of her and told her if she tried any of her tricks on Johnny, he'd personally beat the tar out of her. Then he gave Johnny a lecture on girls and how a sneaky little broad like Sylvia would get him into a lot of trouble. As a result, Johnny never spoke much to girls. But he had been talking about girls like Sylvia, and the girls he and Daly and the rest picked up at drive-ins in downtown. He never said anything about Sochi girls, so I figured it was all right to be sitting there with them, even if they did have their own troubles. I really couldn't see what Sochas have to do to sweat about good grades, good cars, good girls, Madras, the Mustangs and the Corvairs. Man, I thought if I had worries like that, I'd consider myself lucky. I know better now.